You're listening to Generation AI.
From Live Person.
Hello, Generation AI listeners. It's your host, Joe Bradley. Before we get started, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast app. Hopefully it's 5 stars, but tell us the truth. We love hearing your feedback. Today, I'm excited to be speaking with Sreedhar Sistu. He's the Vice President of AI Offers at Schneider Electric. Sreedhar has almost 30 years of leadership experience. We're very glad to have you here, Sreedhar. Welcome.
Thank you, Joe.
Let's dive right in, man. So you've got a number of years, even decades, one might say, of experience in software product management, development. Tell us how that led you to your current role and when AI came into your career, and help us understand what an AI offers vice president is.
Yeah, happy to. And all of a sudden, when you say decades, so I started looking, for my gray hair, but this is one of the places where I think I'm, quite happy to have experience under the belt. So, kind of how I got here is, I would say a mix of uh, deliberate planning and serendipity. So the fun fact is, AI has been with me from the beginning of my academic career. So just kind of taking a few steps back, I'm a mechanical engineer by training. Then I studied, operations research and statistics, which before it was called AI, because a lot of optimization and statistics, are now, part of data science and AI.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, one of the first few programming languages I learned were AI languages. It was total serendipity. I mean, I was kind of curious. Some of your listeners may know that there was something called expert systems that were built, after the I would say maybe during the second winter of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And those were built using Prolog, and I had the experience of learning that. But anyways, now I'm dating myself even further. But it's something that has been with me because I think AI to me is a natural evolution of what we have seen with computers. I mean, the original name for this was thinking machines.
Mm.
When the term AI was coined almost 70 years ago, in a place not too far from where I live in Boston area, there was a famous Dartmouth conference where this term was coined.
Mm.
And since then it kind of went through a couple of things. And personally for me was this is something that kind of stayed with me, even though I went through the career of being in technology, enterprise software products, both on the technical side and then on the business side. um, what it gave me is a better appreciation for AI as a transformative technology, right? As it started to become more and more real, starting maybe like 2010s with cloud and data, and now the big wave that we are riding, with generative AI. So it's something that stayed with me. And as industry started to think more and more about AI, um, and Schneider is has been a bit ahead in everything,
Mm.
and in their sustainability journey and AI. So they started to think about AI at scale, and I took the position to work with Schneider on that. um, and more importantly, I think it is not only AI, but AI to address some of the more profound challenges we have, which is in energy management, which we can talk about further
Yeah.
on.
Well, yeah. Tell us a little bit about what Schneider's doing and how they like how AI is used. I don't know if all of our listeners will be familiar with the company.
Yeah, sure. We'll be happy to. So Schneider Electric is a large global company. We've been around for I would say maybe 165 years or so. So doing lots of interesting things. It's a company of about 145,000 employees. More recently, we had a revenue of about 35 billion euros. Um, but fundamentally, what we do is we do everything with respect to energy management, and that to the energy in the form of electricity, right? So anything that you want to do, the electricity that comes to your commercial buildings or a factory or to your home, this is probably the most bendable form of energy, right? So we provide assets, equipment, to optimize the energy. Um, so the way we look at AI is in two broad categories. One, to improve the way we work inside the company and serve our customers, not much different from how many large companies do, right? I mean, you want to improve your human resources, your finance, your supply chain, etc. But we also do the second part, which is unique in that applying AI to the problems that are important for our customers, which is how to reduce the energy footprint, how to optimize the energy mix that we are using from not just from grid but from renewables and storage, etc. And lastly, how to make it easy for people to adopt these technologies.
Fascinating stuff. And electricity in general seems to be a very impactful area for AI to play a role. It strikes me that a lot of regulatory bodies are probably thinking about this and probably care quite a bit about the energy utility for AI and how that all works. What's the regulatory pressure look like for you guys, or how do you see that being made manifest? Are there limitations on what you can do? Are there, is the regulation still kind of catching up? How's that all look?
Yeah, it's an important area that you highlight. So first of all, I think as a domain, applying AI to energy, I think is it's really like a marriage made in heaven. It's we know that energy is one of the biggest challenges of our generation, right? I mean, today you see the demands growing, and everything that we do with fossil fuels, we have to modify the mix, if you want to stay within our sustainability goals. And given the scale of the problem, we absolutely need technologies like AI. On the regulation side, for sure there is already thinking on this topic, and in fact, I had the privilege to testify in front of Congress last year on the House Commerce and Energy Committee on this very topic, where Congress is starting to think about the implications of AI to various sectors, including energy, and they see this as a very important tool in addressing the climate challenges that we have. Now, doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, that everybody is going to drop the rule book and say that okay, put AI everywhere. um, but I think it is in the focus of many people. Technologies that leverage AI, such as microgrids, okay, which is a very important part of the energy strategy. They rely on AI. There are virtual power plants is another technology, and making building some smart home energy management systems. These are all on the menu to solve the problem, and our regulatory bodies are looking at it.
So in a nutshell, I guess like level that up for us in a nutshell. Like, where do you see the opportunity for AI and energy? It sounds like there's this microgrid capability that may come online. There's smart homes, as you mentioned. What when you fast forward to the future state and you say, okay, this is what AI helped us do, and how much of an impact you think it might have on the world's energy consumption and use and the problems there, like how would you wrap that all up?
So, on the impact of AI on energy, I would look at it in two broad categories, right? One, how it is going to impact on our current energy consumption, how it can help alleviate the problem, and the second one is something like what we can avoid, the problem that is coming. So on the first one, buildings are some of the most energy intensive things in the world today. About 60% of energy is consumed by buildings, mainly because of heating and cooling requirements, right? I mean, be it commercial buildings, schools, churches, all these things, they consume energy. And by introducing AI into the way they can manage HVAC, we can get benefits of almost as much as 20%. So that's a huge amount of saving of energy while maintaining the same comfort level. We are not compromising on anything, right? Then, if you look at the new loads that are coming onto the energy system, whether it is like electric vehicles, okay, fast forward into future, you're going to have like fleets of vehicles that may be coming from UPS or FedEx, or Amazon, or you're going to have a whole bunch of data centers that also require a lot of power. Data centers that enable us to have this video call and podcast recordings. So what we can do is by applying technology, let us say for EV charging, how we can, time shift the way things are done, so we don't introduce the kind of the peak on the grid. So that's going to make avoid the problem that we are going to face if we don't do anything, with the impending adoption of EVs, etc.
It's fascinating how the things like just the unevenness in time of consumption become such majorly
Yeah,
important aspects to get right. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
and the scale of it all, I think you're right, particularly with AI coming online and the energy requirements there, and the projections that the world is starting to make about the usage. It's an important time to unravel these questions. I'm curious to know what you think about people who are looking to come into a leadership role around AI.
mm,
Particularly in your domain. You've had a trajectory that's led you here to a pretty important job at a high scale company. Um, what advice would you offer someone who's looking to start down that road?
few things that come to my mind, right away, right? I mean, one thing that is, kind of unique about this domain of AI is that it is so fast changing. No one heard of generative AI and chat GPT 15 months ago. Now it is on everyone's parlane. um I mean, when I go for work, when I'm traveling in Uber, and I cook up a conversation with the drivers, and many of them use chat GPT as part of their interaction. So it's fascinating how prevalent it has become. um, I think what is important to move into this space, and especially being on leadership side, is two things. One is, I think everyone must become really literate on AI. It means a lot of learning, both the foundations, as well as state of the art. The second one is, more importantly, to understand the business context in which this is going to be applied, because at the end of the day, it is a general purpose technology, which, by the way, is what GPT is also says. AI is a general purpose technology, and it can be used in multiple ways. You need to understand where it makes sense, where it is going to move the needle, because a lot of things that we do today in my role and in my company is, it's not only about how cool the problem is, but how impactful this is going to be for our business. And I think leaders who are moving into this space should have that mindset.
Yeah, I think the rate of change here is fascinating to me too. And there's a sort of like undiscovered country, I feel like, in front of us. Um, you know,
It's a
it,
great analogy. Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna be the world's gonna be different, and we all kind of it's weird because we all kind of know it, but we don't really know how. Like when the internet hit, I'll date myself now. Um, I think the world didn't understand what an impact that was going to have very well.
Yeah.
This one's
Yeah.
different. Like we see it, we're like the train's coming. We just don't know where the train's going. I
Great comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's look out a few years. Like let's try and attack that question for a second. What trends or what's happening in AI right now that interests you the most, that you're the most excited about?
So I think in the AI area, for sure, generative AI is a key topic right now. The large language models, even though we know they have some limitations, but one particular area where they have become very useful, and I think will continue to pay dividends, is in the area of knowledge management, right? So companies have been forever trying to deal with this space of, I have so much knowledge in my enterprise, very specific domain, but I don't know how to capture it, and how to make it available to more and more people. What generative AI has done is, it made it possible, especially lots of
Ah,
text based knowledge that companies have. So you can new employees can very easily come up to speed. Your customers and call center agents can easily find answers. And when you have people who are retiring, you are not at the risk of losing all the experience that they have. So this is really interesting to me, how to capture knowledge using generative AI.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think knowledge management and like discovery is another really interesting use case to me as well. Like, do I have a way, like when I don't know what I don't know about something, the latest AI models seem to be really good at helping you start to build a picture, which is not
Yeah,
easy to do.
yeah.
Uh, let's see. Cognizant of time here, we're running up to it. I guess I think we can squeeze in our hype it or hate it. If you're up for it, Sreedhar, what do you think?
Let's go for it.
All right, all right. Sebastian, you're gonna tape us or time us. I mean to say.
Whenever you hear the buzzer, that means that your time is up. I will let you know when you're at 30 seconds and then 10. So I'm
Go.
going to put the clock now.
So we do both one hype and one hate.
No, you get to pick.
Okay.
I'll go first and
All right, Joe.
try not to screw it up too bad.
Yeah.
All right. 60 seconds start now.
Okay, so many people many of our listeners may not know that part of what our company at LivePerson does, we have a close partner company that's a precision medicine company, and I've worked with these guys a little bit. And not too long ago, we had entered into some work together, and it got me realizing I needed to learn a lot more about genetics and basic biology. I was never really much of a biology student. I was more of a physics guy. And
30
so
seconds.
this is a simple hype in some ways. I used generative AI to help me with that exploration and to help me just discover that area and learn about it at a fundamental level and then go deep. And I found it to be so much more inviting and useful and helpful than I really expected.
10 seconds.
And when I compare it back to the olden times of pulling textbooks out of the closet and reading through them and making notes that
Buzz.
way, I'm very hyped about this capability for learning right now, and I think it's going to help us a lot.
All right. So, Sreedhar, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, so I'll talk about something that maybe I hate, since Joe, you talked about what you're hyped about.
All right, sounds good.
So I think the one that I find a bit disappointing is the AI doomerism. I think there is way too much about how AI is going to destroy everything, how AI is going to take over the world. Um, I understand the concerns, but I think net this is a positive for the society. We have seen technologies like this come before that people are afraid of, and the more we can tone down the rhetoric on the AI doomerism and switch more to the optimism, that would be much better for us. So that's the one thing that I'm not super happy about, the AI doomerism.
Yeah, I
All right.
think it's a great call out. I think that there are obviously dangers with any technology, and it's natural to be concerned about them. But as human beings, we're negatively biased animals. We just naturally notice the dark side of things and think about it more. It's probably a survival mechanism, but doesn't
Yeah.
always do us a service in contexts like this.
No, not at all. And like you said, we are negatively biased, and it's easy to tell people, to be scared of something, and you look like someone wearing rose tinted glasses when you say that it's all going to be okay. But I believe in that.
Let's bring back idealism a little bit. Okay, well, listen, we're at time. Terrific conversation today, Sreedhar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me here. I enjoyed the discussion.
All right, me too. So for our listeners, I hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast if you can, if you want to. I think you should. More great guests like Sreedhar coming soon. Thanks and have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Generation AI,
Automating Better Business,
a show from LivePerson.
Never miss an episode by subscribing to the show in your favorite podcast player. Please give us a rating, leave a comment, and share the episodes you love. Until next time.